What would you do if you had just crash landed on a deserted island with nothing else to survive except 100,000 Lego bricks? Well, today I'm gonna find out by building a Lego raft and putting it to the test on the open waters to see if I can actually survive. Welcome to the crash site, which is definitely on a deserted island and definitely not in my studio. As you can see, we have a bunch of Legos at our disposal. And I'm only giving myself 3 days to build the best Lego raft that I can before I have to test it out on the water. So I have to think smart and build something that can actually hold my weight.
12 seconds later.
What if we built like a Lego ball, like a giant Lego ball, and then rode it? You think that would float? Probably not. So the plan is to build a log raft out of Lego logs and then tie them together using nothing but Lego rope and the strength of the clutch power to see if we can actually stay afloat. And I'm gonna build most of it over here because I don't wanna do that on the beach. And if you didn't already know this, brown Lego pieces are known to snap very easily. So what I'm gonna do is first build up a long line of Technic beams because those will actually be strong, and then we'll build a core out of bricks around that and cover it in brown as our final layer. So we need structure, how well it fits together, the style, how good it looks floating in the water, and the floatability, if it actually floats in the water. That way the raft actually looks good, because we gotta be floating away in style. And we can just connect a bunch of these guys using Technic pins. And I think I wanna try and make this thing at least 6 feet long, so we gotta make these pretty big. So as you can see with our first layer of Technic bricks, it's not very sturdy. To fix that, I'm gonna put 2 layers of plates on top of this, and then build up one more and stack them together. And that way we can actually lock them together vertically using more pins. The trick as well is to make sure your pieces are overlapping. That way we're locking all the parts together. Like we wouldn't wanna put this piece here because it doesn't overlap this connection. So we'd want a smaller one like this. Put this guy right there. Now we lay this guy on top of here. This is a lot sturdier, as you can see. You can also see here I've added a few plates that stick out, and that's because we're gonna need to attach the cross braces later. So I'm gonna add some little Technic pieces just to sturify these even more. And then one more layer of plates on the top of this to really sandwich it all together. Now that we have the core of the log built up, it brings us to an important point. How do we know what's gonna make our raft actually float? The basic rule is, in order for something to float, it has to weigh less than the volume of water it displaces. And this is actually called buoyancy. To better demonstrate how buoyancy works, I built this little box here, and if we take this solid block of Lego, you can see we can completely fill the space inside the box. And since this box is the same size as this area in here, we know that this is the volume. And this block weighs 4.3 ounces. So now if we just fill up this box with water to the same level as before, and we weigh that, 10 ounces. We now know that Lego is lighter than water, which makes it positively buoyant. Meaning if we drop it into a body of water, it floats. Whereas something like this rock sinks to the bottom. And the reason I knew that would sink is because when I filled up that same box with rocks, the rocks weighed just a little more than the water, which makes them negatively buoyant. Now the question is, if we put enough weight on this guy like this, will we sink to the bottom or will there be enough buoyancy to be able to float on it? Since I don't really want to calculate that, we're just gonna test it out and see if it works, because that's the whole point of this video. For our logs, we're gonna add several layers of bricks to actually bulk them up so they'll be completely solid. And then on the outer layer, we'll use brown and tan to actually make it look like wood. So we just gotta start by putting a bunch of bricks on here. Now we just gotta build up from there. So one of the tricks in building things to be sturdy, or stable, is actually trying to overlap all of the bricks by more than one stud. For example, right here you can see our last layer. Some of the gaps are like here and here. So what we're gonna do is overlap this layer so that each brick covers 2 bricks on the bottom. Kind of going with that running bond pattern all the way across. Another really cool trick when you're locking pieces together and you switch layers, so you go up to the next layer. Since I know for a fact that every one of these layers beneath this uses pieces that are divisible by 2, for example 2x4s and 2x8s, so I know that if I start on one end with a 2x4 and I offset it by 1 stud like this, so it's splitting the gap right there, if we keep going down with these 2x4s like this, we will be covering all of the gaps and locking them together. We literally don't have to do anything else. We just keep stacking these down, and as you can see, all of these pieces are now interlocked because we offset it by 1 stud. Kind of a useful tip I learned a while ago. Something that's been really helpful though is having a cross section, and this is basically what I'm building. So you can see I have the gray piece on here. That's the Technic bricks that I already built. But now that we got this ahead of time, we kind of know where the plates and bricks need to go so that everything interlocks. It'll look like a log once we're finished. I just gotta finish this red layer, and then we're gonna add a layer of green, and then we should be able to cover all that up with a layer of brown. we're fixing to get off of our island soon. We're only an hour and a half in so far. So this thing took 2 hours to build, and it weighs about 20 pounds. But now that we have the inside filled with bricks, we can finally build the outside. So literally, just taking a bunch of bricks and covering it to make it look like a log. One more final push, and our big side log will be complete. And then we just have to duplicate this one more time, and then build the cross beams and tie it all together, and we're gonna float away in style. This build is gonna take like 10,000 bricks, I'm telling you right now. Here's the thing about being on an island. There's not a whole lot to do, and we've only been working for 2 hours, so we might just be able to get off the island by the end of the day, theoretically. I'm having to test all these plates before I snap them down, because some of them are just super fragile. It's so sad. I don't know the full story, but I guess somewhere along the way, LEGO made a bad batch of brown dye or something, and then they just sent it out in a bunch of pieces and didn't realize until years later it started snapping. I'm pretty sure that's how it went, because some of these are just so fragile, so brittle. Okay, after 4 hours, the first one is finally complete. I'm just gonna duplicate this one more time. Let's go set this up. All right. So here, as you can see, we have our raft base. I'm also really curious how much these weigh. As I was searching the island, I found a scale in a tree. I don't know how it got there. Probably fell out of the plane that I was flying in by myself, so I don't know who brought it, but it wasn't me. That's 20 pounds. Oh my gosh. So our raft is already up to 40 pounds of weight. Now, the next step, we need to connect these Technic beams we've integrated into this and make it a little bit wider so we have room. Then we can cover those in plates and make them look like cut wood. Since we have 9 beams we need to make, my plan is to build the middle 3 a little bit thicker and stronger than the other ones. You just gotta build these across and bridge the gap in the middle. That's about as far as I can go. Okay, so I messed up the placement of the connector pieces. As you can see, I had to kind of blend them together right here because the placement just wasn't quite aligning. But other than these 3 middle ones, the outer ones worked perfectly. So now that we got all those in place, as you can see, it's really pretty flimsy. So I'm gonna put this up on a table and build across the 3 major ones in the middle, and we'll cover the other ones with plates and bricks. Check this out, guys. Because we put 2 layers of plates in between our Technic bricks here, we can actually take a Technic lift arm like this and link them together also vertically so they can't separate. That'll just make it a lot stronger, and we'll be able to build bricks around that too to cover that up. I've almost got these last couple cross beams complete, and then we just have to add the ties that go around them. Now we have all our beams going across, we need to build some rope. So I'm gonna use this string, and we're gonna take a bunch of these LEGO 1x1 round bricks and just thread them through our string here to make LEGO rope. I don't know if this will do anything for stability, but I'll wrap each of our corners with the rope, and it should help to hold it together a little bit. It's like beading, but it takes like 90 years. Guys, we've officially finished the LEGO raft. It's time to take it to the beach, test it out, see if it actually works. Let's do this. All right, guys, we are here at the water. We're ready to launch this thing. It's a beautiful day. It's been a beautiful day this whole time that I've been on this island, so we're good to go. We've got our raft. I have no idea if this is gonna work, but I wanna get off this island. I'm gonna take it out a few feet. Moment of truth. Will she float? She floats. We are floating on the water, guys. This is great. So let's see how far we can take it out, and then I'll hop on and hopefully, oh, there's a big rock. We don't want to bang it against any giant rocks in the water. Oh gosh, the water's cold. Here we go. Hey, it floats. Wait a minute. It actually does. Check it out. We're on the LEGO raft, guys. It's floating just enough to keep me afloat. Ice cold. Can I touch the bottom? Oh gosh, I can't touch the bottom. It's melting. I'm not sinking down, but also the raft mainly underwater, so this thing's actually pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if it's really doing me much work. It feels like I'm floating on driftwood, but I guess that's kind of the idea, right? Not gonna see. Well, as long as I can get back, I'll paddle back. I call this a success. Got paddle. I think this is good enough to at least float. I mean, it's better than floating just by yourself, but at the same time, I wouldn't do this again. I can't believe I built this thing entirely out of Lego. This is honestly crazy. So that means this watercraft actually works as a watercraft. I'd say it's a viable solution if you are stranded with, you know, a bunch of Legos and a bunch of free time on your hands, because this took forever. But wow, what a cool experience, you guys. We survived on a Lego raft. This thing actually works. It floats well enough to be able to float to a nearby island. This was a huge success, you guys. Thanks for watching. Check out one of these 2 videos popping up on your screen. Check out when I built a Lego aircraft carrier right over here. I'll talk to you in the next Brick Science. See ya.